Good morning and welcome to Tuesday's maths lesson. I hope you all enjoyed your inset day yesterday. So this week we are looking at ratio, and this is linking with all the work we've done over the last few weeks with multiplication and division, and hopefully you can see those links between it. So we're going to start off nice and easy today, and then we're going to get a little bit harder as we go through the week, but you will be absolutely fine with all of it. Okay, right, let's get started. So if you remember, all the way back in kind of February time when we did this, ratio is when you compare two amounts or two quantities of something. And we use the kind of stem sentence for every something, there are something. A lot of the time this is very useful if we're doing things like recipes. So you might say for every one egg, there is 70 grams of flour. I don't really make cakes. I'm not sure if that's a good ratio or not. That could be very wrong. But then if I wanted to make that cake for two people, so I needed 2 eggs, I need to make sure that ratio of flour stays the same. So if it was 1 to 70, it will be 2 to 140, because you've got to keep that proportion the same, but you want to make the quantities larger, but make sure there's the same amount of eggs to flour. If I put 6 eggs in and still kept that same 70 grams of flour, that's going to be a very runny cake. So you've got to use ratio to help work it out. Right, let's get going. So we are comparing one quantity to another quantity, using the phrase for every something, there are something. So, number 1 then, for every 1 vase, there are 5 flowers. So hopefully you can start to think what that looks like as a ratio already. Wonder if you could represent that using a bar model. What would that look like? Well, there's my number of vases, just 1 bar. My number of flowers, 5 bars. So there it is. There's 1 vase to every 5 flowers. And at the minute, each one of those is worth 1. So there's 1 vase, there's 5 flowers. 1 times 5 is 5. Easy. Next one then. So for every 1 vase, there's still 5 flowers. So my bar model's staying the same, because for every 1 vase, there's 5 flowers. What about if there was 3 vases though? How many flowers are there now? So, number of vases is now 3. So each one of these parts is now 3. So you do 3 times 5, which is 15. For every 1 vase, there are 5 flowers. So for 3 vases, there are 15 flowers. Because if you times this side by 3, you've got to times this side by 3. 15 is 5 times the size of 3. So 15 times 3 would be your 5 there. Now, we looked at it a little bit like this. I want to show you this way as well. I'm going to show you loads of different representations, but this is probably the way that you were hopefully thinking about this. So we can say for every 1 vase there are 5 flowers, and we can write it like this. Remember, this kind of colon is the ratio sign. If I was you, see if I can get my little pen up, I would always make sure that you are labelling it. So I'm having V for vase and F for flowers. You could draw a little flower if you wanted, so that you remember that this is the vase side and this is the flower side. So for every 1 vase there's 5 flowers. Now there are 3 vases, so I'm going to times the vases by 3. Just like I did here, look, all of a sudden, where's my pen? The vases became 3. So I've times this side by 3, I've times the vases by 3, the ratio's got to stay the same, so I've got to times the flowers by 3, 5 times 3 is 15. So if there was 3 vases, there was 15 flowers. Okay, hopefully you're with me so far. So, same start point. For every 1 vase, there are 5 flowers. So I've got my bar model again that shows 1 vase, 5 flowers in it. So the total number of flowers is 5. Now, we can use this kind of this ratio to write different number sentences. So 1 vase times 5 flowers is 5 flowers in total. 5 flowers in total, there they are, look, shared into those groups of 5 would make 1 group. It would make 1 vase, wouldn't it? And then this is the same as saying 5 times 1/5, because dividing by 5 is the same as timesing by a fifth. So 5 times a fifth is 1. 1/5 of 5 is 1. Okay, so we can kind of see this multiplications and division sentences and how they are the inverse and the opposite. And we're going to use this in a minute. So this time, rather than me telling you how many vases there are, I'm going to tell you how many flowers there are in total. So now I am telling you that the total number of flowers is 15. So I know that there are 5 flowers for every 1 vase. So 15 split into 5 parts. 15 divided by 5 would be 3, which tells me that each group of 3, which means there are 3 vases. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. 15 times a fifth is 3. And I can check it because if there was 3 vases with 5 flowers in each, there'd be 15 flowers in total. So again, the way that you are more used to seeing it is this. For every 1 vase, there are 5 flowers. For every 5 flowers, there is 1 vase. So for 3 vases, well, what's this with this? So for 15 flowers, how many vases are there? Well, you times this side by 3, so you're going to times this side by 3. 1 times 3 is 3. So for every 3 vases, there are 15 flowers. So then, next question. For every 10 grapes that Ralph eats, Lily eats 1. So here this is represented as a bar model. Here's the 1 grape that Lily eats, and here's the 10 grapes that Ralph eats. So down here, we've got a little table. So this is kind of more how we're used to doing this. So the number of grapes that Lily eats is 1. The number of grapes that Ralph eats is 10. So if Ralph eats 20, what does Lily eat? How many grapes does Lily eat? And if Lily's eating 3, how many is Ralph eating? Ooh. So hopefully you can see that the grapes, you've timesed it by 2 to get from 10 to 20, and each one of these is now worth 2. So because you've times this side by 2, you need to times this side by 2. This is now worth 2. So if Lily eats 2 grapes, Ralph will eat 20. If Lily eats 3 grapes, so this 1 part equals 3, Ralph will eat 10 times 3, which is 30. Next one. Bijan has some marbles. For every 5 blue marbles, he has 3 red marbles. Write that ratio down. If Bijan has 50 blue marbles, how many red marbles does he have? And how many marbles does he have altogether? So here we've got the question at the top. We've got the bar model way of representing it over here. Here we've got the way that we're kind of used to doing it, apart from it's horizontal, not vertical. And you'll see this sometimes in questions, okay? We're trying to show you different representations of the same thing to really improve your mathematical understanding, so that if you see it represented a different way, you know it's still ratio and you might be confused by it. So for every 5 blue marbles, there are 3 red marbles. So I would write this down as 5 to 3. Ooh. I'd put B for blue and I'd put R for red. Okay, but this is the same thing here, apart from the red marbles, there's the 3, and then blue marbles, here's the 5. So rather than having it next to each other, they're just horizontal like this. So now if there's 15 blue marbles, how many red marbles are there? So remember it's blue. So blue has now gone to 15. So what have we times this by? We've times this by 3. So we need to times this by 3. So I think using this method, I think it should be 9 red marbles. Now let's try it over here. So blue marbles, there's 15 blue marbles. So the whole thing is going to equal 15. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. There needs to be 3 there, 3 there, 3 there, 3 there, and 3 there, because 15 divided by 5 is 3. So if each one of the parts is 3, then this is 3, this is 3, and this is 3. So altogether, this is 9. Yep, so far I'm happy. I'm proving my working out. If you wanted to do it vertically, it would look like this. You would have gone from 5 to 15. You'd have timesed it by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So you could have represented it any of these 3 ways. Well done if you got that right. So with this one, the last bit was, how many marbles are there altogether? Well, there's 9 red marbles, there's 15 blue marbles, so altogether there's 24 marbles. Okay, there's your next question. I want you to read it, write down your ratio, and work out how many children there would be if there was 12 adults. And have a go at representing it in different ways. So here's 2 of the ways you could have represented this, or you could have represented it the way that we are used to. So I'm going to put adults on one side, children on the other. So 2 adults for every 3 children. If there's now 12 adults, I can see I've timesed it by 6. So I've got times this side by 6, which would be 18. And I can see this here, apart from it's gone horizontally rather than vertically. And I can see here that if the whole total was 18 split into 3 parts would be 6 each. So these would be 6 each too. 6 times 2 would be 12. Well done if you got that right. Right then, for this next one, it's the same idea, apart from this time we've got 3 different objects to be looking at. So to make a cheese and tomato sandwich, you need 2 slices of bread, 3 slices of cheese and 4 slices of tomato. So have a go at writing down a ratio for these 3 things. And then I want you to answer, what would you need to make 12 sandwiches? So that all makes 1 sandwich. If I wanted to make 12 sandwiches, how much would I need? Okay, pause video and have a go. Well, hopefully that was quite nice and easy. So for 1 sandwich, you needed 2 slices of bread, which you can see here. So to make 12 sandwiches, you times it by 12 to have 24 slices of bread. And you can see this here because you need to make 12 sandwiches, so each part equals 2, so you've got 24. Number of slices of cheese, we needed 3 to make 1 sandwich, so times it by 12 to make 12 sandwiches would be 36. And tomato, we needed 4 slices of tomato, times it by 12, 48. Lovely. So next question then. If we use 21 slices of cheese, how many slices of tomato do we need? Pause video, off we go. Right then, answer time. So, if you did 21 slices of cheese, that means that you have made 7 sandwiches because you've times this by 7. So each one of these parts is worth 7. So if you're timesing it by 7, if you're making 7 sandwiches, you need to times 4, because that's how I need for 1 sandwich by 7, which is 28. Well done if you got that right. Next one then, hopefully you found these nice and easy. A loaf of bread contains 26 slices. How many sandwiches can we make? So that's part A. And then what else would you need? That's part B. Pause the video and off we go. Well, if we've got 26 slices and you need 2 slices for 1 piece of for 1 sandwich, you're going to make 13 sandwiches because 26 divided by 2 is 13, or 2 times 13 is 26. So you can make 26 slices can make 13 sandwiches. So then you need to times 3 by 13, which is 39 slices of cheese, and 4 times 13, which is 52 slices of tomato. Right, next one then. Yukti puts 1 apple and 3 oranges in each bag. So that's your ratio. If she uses 8 apples, how many oranges must she use? Well, nice and easy. If you're multiplying apples by 8, you need to multiply the oranges by 8, so it would be 24. Easy peasy. So you can either do it this way, so you know you've times that by 8, so you need to times this by 8. Or you can say, well, I know that here I've times this by 3, so I can times this by 3. Okay, this way is using the more kind of approach that we've used most of this year with a little ratio sign between it. So if you've times this side by 3, you can times this side by 3. But you can use either method, okay? And that's kind of what this is about today. It's showing you different ways of looking at it, and it's also showing you that there's more than one way of working these things out and proving your answer as well. Right then, so same ratio. This time if she uses 15 oranges, how many apples must she use? So my ratio is 1 to 3. So there's my 1 apple, there's my 3 oranges. So you can either know that you've times the apples by 5, so you've times the oranges by 5, which is 15. Or you can look at the relationship between oranges and apples. So you've divided the oranges by 3 to get to the apples. So 15 divided by 3 would be 5. And you can use either one of these to show these ratios. Last little bit for this question then. Yukti puts 1 apple and 3 oranges in each bag. How many apples if there are 20 pieces of fruit all together? Okay, so look at your total. Look at the total. So for this one, I've gone to the vertical way because this is what I prefer. You might prefer the horizontal way, and I'll show you that in a minute. So I've got apples for oranges, A to O, 1 apple for every 3 oranges. And over here, I've got like a separate column that tells me the total. So the fruit altogether, 1 add 3 is 4. I'm now telling you that the total amount of fruit is now 20. So I'm timesing it by 5. So all I need to do is times these by 5 as well. So 1 times 5 is 5, 3 times 5 is 15. Let's check it's right. 5 add 15 is 20. Yes, I've done it right. So this tells me that if there's 20 pieces of fruit altogether, there are 5 apples. You can also see this because apples is 1 out of 4. It's 1/4. What's a quarter of 20? 5. Okay, so this is the the horizontal way of looking at it as well. But you've got exactly the same answer. Right then, last question for today. Here are the ingredients for 2 smoothies. I want you to tell me the ingredients for 4 smoothies. When you've done that, what do you need to make 20 smoothies? And when you've done that, what do you need to make 1 smoothie? Off we go. Right then, answer time. So this is 2 smoothies. So to make 4 smoothies, I'd do 2 times 2, which is 4. So I just need to times everything by 2 and double everything. So that's the answers that we should have got there. If I want to make 20 smoothies, I'm going to start here with 2 smoothies. What do I do to 2 to get to 10? 2 to get to 10, totally answer there. 2 to get to 20, times it by 10. So you're going to times everything by 10. Or I could do this row and times it by 5, because 4 times 5 is 20, and you get the same answers. So to make 20 smoothies, I'm timesing all of it by 10. Or look, you could times it by 5 from the 4 smoothies. Last one then, what do you need to make 1 smoothie? Well, if this is 2 smoothies, how do you get from 2 to 1? You divide by 2, so 20 divided by 2 is 10, 1 divided by 2 is a half, and 200 divided by 2 is 100. Right, well done for today. I will see you tomorrow. Bye!